It's now time to take you to the Appointments Committee sitting. They're about to vet a Deputy Minister-designate for the Ministry of Education, Clement Apaak. Let's listen in.
Doninga in the Busa South District in the Upper East region. I am a Christian by faith. I am married with 7 children. I am a Ghanaian citizen. I speak 5 Ghanaian languages, including English, in addition to English. I began my interactions with formal education in Bawa Barracks Primary School in Tamale. As the son of a civil servant, I have a long history of having attended many primary schools. Safe to say, between Bawa Barracks and Sakasaka Primary School, which was the last primary school I attended, I had also attended...
Mr. Nominee, please be mindful of time. I said 2-3 minutes.
I will summarize.
Yeah, and I think you're on your 5th minute now.
I did my secondary education in Sandma Secondary Technical School, now known as Azantulo Senior High School, 6th form in Nandom Secondary School, University of Ghana, where I was privileged to be in the Great Commonwealth Hall. I did my MPhil at the University of Bergen in Norway and obtained my doctoral degree at Simon Fraser University in Canada. I hold a PhD in archaeology, an MPhil in archaeology, an international certificate in archaeology, a Bachelor of Arts in history and archaeology, and a middle school living certificate. Mr. Chair, I think this will suffice for now. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much. And you are welcome once again. I am going to now give the floor to Honorable Minority Leader for his introductory remarks. Leader, you're on the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Nominee, kindly read before you a post made by you in September 2024, and that would be the foundation point for my remarks. Thank you.
Most grateful, Mr. Chair. The post, obviously, is one that I made. It bears my name and my image. And it reads, with your permission: the corrupt, useless, and reckless Akufo-Addo Bawumia MPP government would rather deploy the military to chase phantom grain smugglers than deploy the military to deal with the Galamsey menace. Then again, what do you expect from a government party that is profiting from the destruction of our forests, the pollution of our water bodies, via illegal mining? Is it not evident that the so-called fight against illegal mining by the Akufo-Addo Bawumia MPP government is a hoax? A vote for DMB/MPP is a vote to upgrade the Galamsey menace. Let's rescue and reset Ghana for our collective good. The alternative is the only option. Vote JDM/NDC. Grateful, Mr. Chairman.
My respected colleague, the first paragraph of your statement do you stand by this, or you believe that with the benefit of hindsight, you could have used a more measured language as a politician? I understand you made this on the 4th of September in the heat of campaign, but would you say that you could have been more measured in the language you use on first paragraph?
Honorable Chair, with hindsight, I must admit that the language was rather harsh. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much. This comes without doubt, you being of the academia stock, and you've earned my respect. That said, let's have a look at paragraph 2 of the same statement. What are your views on that as well?
Most grateful, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, whilst it is fair to admit that the content of this post could have been better presented, I must admit that it was influenced by the Professor Frimpong Boateng statement as contained in the report that was in the public domain for discussion. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
But Honorable Nominee, the Frimpong Boateng report is not before us. In your report, in your post, you said, then again, what do you expect from a government that is profiting from the destruction of our forests and pollution of our water bodies via illegal mining? You see, you are not talking about the Frimpong Boateng report, though it's not before us, was talking about excesses of some individuals, like we have today. Today, your government is less than 2 months, but you know that last week, the minister, Omar Kofi-Boa, came to lament as to certain actions of people who are party members and are doing certain things. So I just want us to situate things right. You know, can we loosely also say that because a constituency chairman is doing something and same is even affecting the image of government, it is the government? So, respected colleague, please give us an appropriate answer in respect of paragraph 2 so that we can make progress. Most respectfully.
Most grateful, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, given the context provided by the Honorable Member, it is only fair and appropriate that I concede that I was rather too excessive in blaming an entire government for the infractions of a few. I'm grateful.
Now, in the last paragraph, the first part of your last paragraph would address it, but the second part of your last paragraph is a political statement. So that one, I will not take you on that, because the first part is a vote for DMB MPP is a vote to upgrade the Galamsey menace. We will deal with that. You did full stop. Then you continue with the second sentence. Let's rescue and reset Ghana for our collective good. The alternative is the only option. Vote JDM and NDC. For that one, it's a political statement. It's normal. You were campaigning. Why not? You are not supposed to sing my praise. But the first sentence of the first paragraph, upgrading the Galamsey menace. Could the language have been different?
Given my responses so far, I would admit so.
Chairman, for the records, I am done with Honorable Clement Apaak. I don't have any question again. It is only fair that when a nominee appears before us, constitutionally he's qualified under Article 78, and key matters that are of controversy, he is honest enough to say he's sorry about it or he takes them back. I do not think that, for my purpose, I have any more to say. I will yield to the expert in his field. Dr. Educhum is here. You know, you are going to deal with education matters. And my colleague Buama and Mustafa and Deputy Leader, they are here to deal with you on other matters. But for me, I am done with you. Save that, I want you to address us on your experience as a parliamentarian thus far in two languages, Dagbani and Kasim. So first, share with us your experience as a member of parliament, what you've learned since you entered parliament. Say all of that to us in Dagbani to inspire the youth. When you're done, we go to Kasim, and perhaps we may do Hausa.
Grateful. Mabe Umpoya. Nyilinye Clement Apaak. Kanjao do Nyama. Manenya MP. Inti Bulsa South. Ne kana parliament ma. Ntumme pam. Nsong. Bulsa South. Nijiama. Ejabi Nyama. Ninya approval. Netum nti. Ghana za. Kariso. Intiteza. Umpoya. Na mwele sante. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Honorable Apaak, now in Kasim, let the youth understand that it takes humility to rise to eminence, and it takes industry to rise to eminence. And through merits, you get to higher heights. Let them be inspired by this in Kasim. Thank you.
Grateful, Mr. Chairman. Kasnaba mama awaraba. Aya bumu. Aba melone. Ana yetu. Anu non chanamo. Ako mujiburu. Oma nundo nenga. Dibi yande na lorbato. Kumama sere pasiba vo school. Se wata sodane. Se na la rikete. Se joane. Bade. Back in nona. Ba wamba word manto. Kumama sere kamo. Anajeyotu. Anu unko dem over school. Akoko dem over school. Ama we willene. But the willene. I want to have school. Pas them I MP. I need a pack neje. Yo zento. Sataye. One of a school. Apa ibia sene. Deren uba. Abande. Abajim yo. Atayi MPs. Akama mali langirane. Akinle. Honorable Chairman. Akinle.
Thank you. So finally, there is free SHS. The youth are benefiting. Some parents may not be appreciating the value of free SHS. Say it in tree. Say something in tree to encourage parents that in spite of everything, they should encourage the girl child to attend school and benefit from the free SHS. Say it in tree for me. Free SHS.
Honorable
Talk
Chairman.
about the benefit of free SHS to parents.
Honorable Chairman, Medawasi Bebre, Yenina Ayetum, say free senior high school, a policy papa. And I was yet to me a boy modern. Na Yamaya Mano, Wamoko school. Na Omonso Dachi Omuntu Membanyam Pinum for na Omun Wapon for so Ama Omobusian for any Omangana. And tea, I will for an out of Winina. Ubia money nemre na omaneba enko school ni bi na
Honorable nominee, the woman, the girl child. That's what.
ne baba omane baba enko school na ye kese de bema betmi aye no ye nkasa oba betmi aye ye say oba betmi aye amana bruso nti akonya na aba no ye ma ye mama no wamon so wamon faso no wamon ko school wamon ko free SHS ni bi na wamon ho aso faso ama nyina beda masi bebre.
And Doc, do you assure the country that the loopholes you find in the implementation of free SHS, you will do all you can to fill in the gap as you promised Ghanaians? I want that one to be also in tree. Then we'll conclude with Hausa.
Yo, minionum. Me says all share free SHS abeya. Ye nyina ya som ya jetum. Say adepa. Nanso ye sanso nim say nyoma ba ko mienu bi atochima ho. Eti jonama ne mama ne na aban. O ma sha asie na nsen ayi no. Asha mobo. Say ye be krekre. Say de be ya. Free senior school no. Ebetumi aso mfaso a chain the S1 no. Medamase.
So finally in Hausa, assure the teachers, the newly recruited teachers who have received their letter terminating their appointment that, effort will be made to see to it that the concerns expressed about it are addressed. I'm saying concerns expressed. This one is from the chair to you in Hausa. Thank you very much.
Na gode. Na gese kuduka. Kende gunzin na akwai waransu tichochi nde mungia sufuta kadan se mududuba kende an kawo su kaman su zo su gwada yaranmu daga school ba abin da mun ce muna kore ticoci ba warangan na abinda ya faru na sini ya beri mungi ya suberi mududuba se mugeni kende ya sa sun samu acin na in acin na sun samu si bisan hanya da ya kamata kowa samu aci si dai ba wahala amma waɗanda acin na ya shiga hannunsu sai takarar da sun da si an ba su acin na ba takara sosai ba suna ya kamata mu duba cikin ne so kar kowa ji tsoro mun gode Allah.
Doc, I think that at this point the youth of Ghana who have lost their employment at the Education Ministry and at GES feel very assured for what you have just said by way of assurance. Thank you very much. I think my colleagues will proceed with this. Thank you. Chairman, thank you.
Grateful, Mr. Chairman.
Minister, just a second. I'm here to do my opening remarks. Mr. Nominee, Honorable Nominee, you have spoken a few languages here. Some I understand, some I don't, some others understand. But as Honorable Leader said, we are talking to the people out there. So I want you to assure the same people out there that this government will not cancel free education, but it will make it better and enhance it. No, please. In all the languages you have just spoken. Thank you.
Nkobisale mabisa mapusi ni mena mete lani bika Dr. Clement Apaak akalninin ma kan bisi ti busnga mena lewa mena tene wom anjo mama litwese namula admanga gunwopola wa mena abasu suyo pezinkan nare ale free SHS wa te kanti kweku tente gumskuma atukunia te kuma wa mena ma nyeni jam minu yanu ma mo hwe mi che obia me sha mo bo se de mampini jona ma ne mama hye Ghana nyina bono se free senior high school policy no any program no won twemu na won twemu ochina ono aka se aba ye nyina ya som na nioma ato chima ewo ho aye nyina ye nim se ekrakra ebe mana som foso a che mfaso a yeso no ebe krakra te ma obi ambo hu free senior school die aba ye nyina nso yeso mabe mpoya John Mama ngone nyate president ni yalia ne free senior high school ma dembene oko sanle anina awara mama duko jo mama didani NDC wa tabra mama wo free senior high school kuna tutu oba lai ochoko Ojaku Ozere. Kolnake Yekubama de Mama Neakudna Lateto Ojaku Mama Chuku Wildema Akama Mali. Honorable, which language is left? Very well. So I've done Buli, I've done Kasem, I've done Chi, Mabe Mpuya. Mbar menen yelia. Ne John Mahama. Won kanama. Dabiam kane. Free Senior High School ma. Obi an sarnle. Dimbene. Mpoya. Mr. Chairman, I want to add Wali as well. Mba mnene mamine ya ansuma teba John da mane mama onwangane wone wo NDC government ne kata even ka epelanga teora ka Free Senior High School ma Free Senior High School kan yele ko kon sam Free Senior High School ko na malon ko viala kata nyotona atwa maligana ja mpoye ja barka. Grateful, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nominee. I'm now going to open the floor and I will call in the former Education Minister. Mr. Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Congratulations to the nominee on your nomination as the Deputy Minister for Education.
Still watching Joy News. Let's take you back to Parliament. The Appointments Committee, they are still vetting the Deputy Minister for Education, Dr. Clement Apaak. Let's listen in.
Na gese ko wakuma. John Mama government is the Azongana. Where PTA dan the answer chisi yazu ye PTA na ya kawo PTA na kuma. PTA kuma mun sani na da amfani. Ina tenye school yara. Ina tenye school na kuma. Akwai school. Say school na ba kuzeru. Ko ba lori. PTA na sunya su gani zuna. Sai su bida kudi. Su sai kuzeru su ba school na. Ko su sai lori su ba school na. PTA ina da amfani. Sai ni asa John Mama ya ce shi ya zo ganna. Acin da PTA ina yin na sun yi su yi kuma. Na ba ku godiya. To wait, what I have said is that the reinstatement of the parent-teacher associations to pre-free senior high school status is positive. That has been done because we all know the roles that PTAs play. When schools have challenges, parents can have a dialogue with the teachers and find ways to try and assist the schools in addressing some of those challenges. PTAs have contributed to build infrastructure to support education service delivery in schools. We know of instances where PTAs have even procured vehicles to facilitate transportation for schools and students. And indeed, in many cases, they've also contributed to procure furniture and to supply to schools. Even in instances where some students misconduct themselves or exhibit deviant behavior, would a collaboration between parents and school authorities, they are able to address some of those challenges. So I believe very strongly that the benefits of PTAs justify the decision by the current government to reinstate them the way they used to be. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much. I'm going to yield the floor to you, so I can't let you do a follow-up. So, yes, Honorable, if you want to do a follow-up,
yes,
then after I'll come to you, Honorable Minister.
Honorable nominee, I think we need to come out clear about the PTA issue. If I listen to you carefully, I get the sense that the contributions made by the PTA is what you are referring to. But PTA was never cancelled. I'll give you a typical example of my alma mater, where PTA built a dormitory for the school. It was never discouraged, and it was never cancelled. So I wonder which examples you are giving as a clear evidence of PTA being cancelled. I don't know. Is it the dues, the assistants? I know as for the assistant, the dues, at a point in time, it was stopped. But the difference, the PTA as support for the schools and everything, was never done. It was never cancelled.
Honorable Leader, as you know, this is a House of Records. You did mention your alma mater. Would you please tell us your alma mater, where you are using as a reference?
Sorry, it's St. Louis Senior Secondary School. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Another intervention.
Okay, is it in line with?
Yes.
Okay, please, let's. Yeah, please go ahead, Honorable Shaibu. Intervention.
Honorable
And please
nominee,
keep it brief.
is it the case that PTAs, as we used to know, have been totally defunct, maligned, or completely jettisoned? Or, are you getting me? Is it the case that the PTAs, as we know, have been completely maligned, dysfunctional, and as if they do not exist? Is that the case?
Thank you. Please, honorable members, can we allow the nominee to answer the questions? Thank you.
Grateful, Mr. Chairman. PTAs, as we knew then, up until now, were jettisoned.
Out of sports. Thank you.
A follow-up from me.
I yielded the floor to the Minister of Sports. Oh, Mr. Minister, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, first of all, let me also add my voice in congratulating the nominee, who is my neighbor. We share boundaries. My constituency and his constituency, we share boundaries. and we've been very, very good friends. So I want to congratulate him. I want to congratulate him for his nomination. But I'll go straight to my question. Mr. Nominee, your government promised the good people of this country that once you are in power, you give free tuition and admission fees for all first-year public school, tertiary schools students, universities. So I want to find out from you, when will this promise start? Thank you.
Grateful, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable nominee, you haven't yet gone into the ministry. You are not a policy maker. You are going to follow your minister, support your minister. You may, okay, honorable members, honorable nominee, you may answer the question. You may. And please, brief, because you are not going to be the policy maker at the ministry. So keep your answer expected of a deputy minister designated. Thank you.
Grateful, Mr. Chairman. I take your guidance. I am not going to be making policy. What the minister decides, as per instructed by the president, I am obligated to support him. I'm grateful.
Chairman, I know our colleague, the nominee, was the ranking member for education and putting up the NDC manifesto before the 2024 election. He was a key member of the committee that came out with the manifesto. I want to find out from the nominee, the government promised free tuition and admission for first-year tertiary institutions. Does this include teacher training colleges and nursing training colleges? Because a constituent of mine in Nursing and Midwifery College, Kubori, want me to find out from the nominee that whether they are part of this policy. Thank you. Because he was a key member of the manifesto. Thank you.
Honorable nominee, please answer the question.
Most grateful, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, my minister, the Minister for Education, is on record to have indicated that the policy covers all first years in public tertiary institutions. Implicitly, that would include the nursing training colleges. I'm grateful.
Minister, you have, is it a follow-up or is it a question?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a question.
So you are on your second question?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Mr.
Chairman, please go ahead.
I want to find out from the nominee his take on the letter issued by the Chief of Staff vis-a-vis those who were recruited after 7 December 2024, and that of the Director General of the Ghana Education Service in revoking all teachers who are recruited and are not on government payroll. Mr. Chairman, I'm asking this question because there are teachers who might have been recruited in June, and yet their processes of getting into the payroll is still in progress. So I want to find out his take on these two disparities. Thank you.
Answer the question. Honorable nominee.
Grateful, Honorable Chair. Mr. Chair, I wish to seek your leave to correct a factual error.
Very well.
Mr. Chair, I had earlier stated that some 600 schools we're still practicing the double track system. That is inaccurate. It is 413 schools and not 600. I'm grateful.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, to the question from the honorable member, I have no take. I take instructions, I take marching orders from the appointing authority. And I wouldn't have any say in a matter of the nature he is seeking my opinion on. I'm most grateful.
Honorable nominee, as you have rightly said, let your answers also reflect that you are a deputy minister designate and not the substantive minister, so that your answers will be short so we can get through this. Thank you. Mr. Minister, I think you have one more question.
No.
No, he has a question.
Chairman is in charge. Mr. Chairman, thank you so much. In answering an earlier question, the nominee indicated on this PTA whether it was cancelled during the previous regime or it was the dues that was cancelled. I want to find out from the nominee. Now that the PTA, their claim is that the PTA has been reintroduced. Is it that the PTA dues which the previous government took out of parents and students because some students were being asked to go home because of PTA dues and government thought that it was not appropriate? Is he telling this committee that with the reintroduction of the PTA, the dues that was taken off by government from parents will be reintroduced? Thank you.
Please, are you done? All right. Thank you very much. I will then come to my right. Oh, he has not answered. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Grateful, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I never made any comments with regards to PTA dues. I didn't. The honorable member sought to give a background, whereupon he referred to comments that I had made. But in the comments I've made so far, I have not spoken about PTA dues.
Honorable nominee, please take my guidance. Answer the question. And as soon as you finish answering the question, please put off your mic to signal that you have finished so we can make progress. Thank you.
The nominee didn't get my question. I can repeat myself or make it more clearer. So that
I will grant that.
Thank you. Chairman, I'm just finding out from the minister, with their policy of the reintroduction of PTA, whether the dues payments will be reintroduced. Thank you. The PTA dues will be reintroduced.
Honorable nominee, I believe you have understood the question, so please answer the question. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I am not the minister. I don't make policy. I am expected to support the minister to implement policy. And within that context, I am unable to give a response to the question posed. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister.
Chairman, thank you so much. And once again, my colleague, my neighbor, congratulations, Clement Apaak.
Thank you. I'll now yield the floor to my right, to Honorable Shaibu. Please, you have the floor. And please make your questions straight to questions, no preambles, and hopefully the nominee will also answer the questions straight as the questions were.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Chairman, unfortunately, by my training, and the Honorable Agalga and who are seated here, the judges will tell you to form a foundation, the basis of which you can ground a very good argument. So I'll go by that.
Honorable nominee,
I'm guided, Chairman.
please, just go by my guidance. No introduction. Please go to your question.
Sharp.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chairman. And let's just stay within PTA. This is an important association that has played a very critical role. You and I went to secondary school together at a time when the country was at crossroads. Indeed, there was severe food shortage occasioned by prolonged drought and devastating bushfires that swept across the entire Savannah woodland. At the time, it was secondary school that suffered the most. We didn't have food to eat. Two key players played a beautiful role in getting us to where we are today. Internal and external. The external includes the Bretton Woods folks, but the internal chaps were the parent-teacher associations. They mobilized food, they went to farms, they came together and did everything as we scavenged through and gleaned through nearby farms to get food. Now, these associations, you and I know, are virtually absent and non-existent. I read from the papers, your will-be boss has said there will be reintroduction of it. Tell us what those plans are in getting back PTAs to the former glory.
Grateful, Mr. Chairman.
Again, Honorable nominee, you are not here this morning being vetted as a substantive minister. You are going to your ministry as a deputy minister-designate if this committee approves your nomination. So please be guided.
I'm guided, Honorable Chair. I would expect to follow the lead of my minister when given approval. I'm grateful.
A follow-up. Okay, please go ahead.
Honorable nominee, in the scheme of things, you have the parent, the teacher, and then the student. In defining the PTAs, we have often left out the student. Do you think it's about time we include the student in the structure? And perhaps we have often left out, in practical terms, and so PTAs, you may want to add an S. Is that something you want to consider? You're talking about students. Would you help or suggest to your minister that in restructuring and bringing back the old glory of PTAs, you would want to include the student representatives, just so you take a cue from what is on the ground, because it's on the basis of the activities of the students that you form the PTA.
Grateful, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I am not the minister. I wouldn't be making policy decisions. Should the minister decide that this proposition is worthy of consideration and seeks my input, I will proffer my opinion. I'm most grateful.
Dan, or you going to ask more questions? Okay, please go ahead.
Honorable nominee, let's do WAEC, the West African Examinations Council. A few months ago, WAEC held the whole country to ransom. Indeed, they nearly disrupted the university calendar. What did they do? They failed and or refused to release the results of senior high students. Now, WAEC has played a critical role over the past decades. But for some reason, do you think that it's about time we introduce competition? WAEC had played a monopoly role over the years. Of course, we will learn that it was a blame game at the end of the day. Either government did not pay, WAEC did not do this, whatever it was. I mean, the monopolistic tendency of WAEC. It's only last week that the High Court ordered that WAEC releases 10,000 results of 10,000 students because there was no justification in withholding those results. Clearly, WAEC is taking the entire country to ransom. Do you think it's about time you will suggest to your minister that we introduce competition to the examination body?
Most grateful, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, again, whilst I'm not in a position to make any policy decisions, should my minister seek my opinion on this matter, I would suggest a national dialogue on our assessment methods to determine the way forward. I believe such a dialogue would perhaps inform us as a nation as to the factors precipitating the conditions that the honorable member has stated, so that we can find a solution. As a member of Parliament on the Education Committee, I have filed motions, at least in the 8th Parliament. I filed a motion with the support of my ranking member at the time, seeking a bipartisan committee to probe matters to do with WAEC and examination malpractices. I think it is a challenge that requires serious national attention. But for now, I can only support my minister based on whatever policy direction he decides is best to address this worrying issue. I'm grateful.
Yeah, your last question, please, if you have one.
Chairman, I do. I want us to look at centralized procurement for secondary schools. The case of procuring either food or items for secondary schools for the past few years has been quite centralized. And that has brought about untold delays. In terms of food, they will have to wait many weeks, days before they receive wherever it's coming from. Would you suggest to your minister, if given the opportunity, that in order to work well and operationalize the secondary school system, procurement should be decentralized at the schools level or at the district level, just so there will be ease of transaction, delays will be curtailed, and smoothness of academic calendar will move on. Thank you.
Grateful, Honorable Chair. And as far as decentralizing procurement would inure to our collective benefit, I wouldn't have a challenge suggesting to my minister to consider that option for the reasons that the honorable member has enumerated. I'm grateful.
On this note, Chairman, let me wish the nominee the very best in his new role. I know he will do well in the new role. I wish you all the best.
I'm grateful, Honorable Chair.
I will stay on my right, and then I'll come to leadership on my left when I'm done. So I will recognize the Honorable Education Committee, as a subject matter. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman, let me use this opportunity to congratulate the nominee on his nomination. The nominee has worked with me for at least 6 years on the Education Committee, and he has been very useful to the committee since he joined us. One strength he has, which I am sure he will carry to the ministry, is consultation. Anytime he wanted to make any statements or do anything as far as education was concerned, he consulted and sought for advice and suggestions. I am sure that strength will help you in the ministry to support the substantive minister. Mr. Chairman, my first question has to do with textbooks. We have been in the fight for the lack of textbooks after the introduction of the new syllabus some few years ago. I know you are not the substantive minister, but should the minister seek your advice on textbooks, will you be in a position to tell him or suggest to him that although we are going digital, there's still the need for textbooks to be supplied? And if that will be carried out so that all schools in the country will have textbooks. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'm grateful, Mr. Chairman. Yes, in the affirmative. Textbooks are very important. And it shouldn't be the case that textbooks should entirely be replaced by technology. So yes, I would advise the minister, if he were to seek my opinion, to ensure that we have adequate textbooks so that every child will have access to a textbook. At the same time, also have access to digital technology for teaching and learning. The two are not mutually exclusive. I think it is the right way to go. I'm grateful.
Mr. Chairman, can I continue?
You have another one? Okay. You are actually standing between us and lunch, so please make the
thank you, Chairman.
questions short.
One issue which has been mentioned has to do with WAEC. we have been very passionate about issues concerning WAEC for some time now. And you will realize that we've spoken so much for WAEC, especially before the conduct of the BEC last year and the WASE. WAEC currently has a lot of challenges, and one of them is financing, the delay in the release of funds to WAEC to run its activities. Now, the issue now is the suspended or withheld results and the reasons for which we know. Now, what advice will you give the minister so that these examination malpractices, which have led to the withholding of results, will be minimized so that results can be released in time for students to enter tertiary institutions that the same academic year? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Grateful, Honorable Chair. Indeed, WAEC has faced funding challenges. And so, if my opinion were to be sought by the minister, I would encourage him to do well to ensure that government meets its responsibilities to WAEC timeously. Given the many years of advocacy in partnership with the honorable member on this subject, one of the reasons that we believe contributes to examination malpractices is WAEC's inability to recruit and deploy its own staff to invigilate and supervise examinations. So if WAEC has sufficient resources to recruit and deploy its own staff, I believe it could help reduce examination malpractices. I'm grateful, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. I will now yield the floor to subject matter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the
Honorable
opportunity. Honorable nominee, I wish you congratulations. I have no doubt that you're going to perform. Well, this is my question. Honorable Chair, decline in teacher authority in our schools has led to rise in absenteeism, truancy, and the violence that we always see on our campuses. Honorable nominee, what do you think is the way forward in ensuring that discipline comes to the campuses of these second cycle schools? Thank you.
Honorable nominee, please go ahead and answer the question.
Grateful. Given that I am before you to be considered as a deputy minister to support a minister, I am incapable of proffering a policy solution. But I believe very strongly that one of the ways to address these challenges the honorable member has listed is the reinstatement of PTAs to their full capacity and not PTAs. I also believe very strongly that a dialogue with teacher unions and educators on their experiences, because they are the front line, with regards to some of these issues, can also inform a policy direction on how we can address these challenges so that teaching and learning would go on smoothly on our various campuses as far as secondary education is concerned.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. I will now shift to my left and start with Honorable Patrick Boama. Then leadership will continue on the left. No, yeah.
Chairman, thank you. Let me congratulate Honorable Clement Apaak, who deliberately omitted from his CV that he led the very powerful outfit in Commonwealth Hall as a Deputy Chief Vandal to Mr. Egbert Fable, Jr. Congratulations, Chief.
I'm grateful, Mr. Chair.
Life in Commonwealth Hall, I believe, still reflects in your actions, and it's embedded in your DNA that truth will always stand. Anyway, Chief, let's deal with this issue of indiscipline and the use of drugs in schools. It's something that you need to assist your minister in fashioning a way with parents to deal with. We all gloss over it, but we see it from the primary school level through to the JHS, secondary school, universities. It's an issue. They call something weed toffee, tramol, cakes, and what have you, biscuits. It's something that I believe going to assist Honorable Haruna Idrisu and the entire educational sector must look into. So I want you to tell parents and the country what you believe can be done to assist in solving this very dangerous issue that pertains in our tertiary institutions. Thank you.
Grateful, Mr. Chairman. And I acknowledge the terrible omission of a position I occupied in the Great Commonwealth, of which I continue to be proud of. So for the vandals, do accept my sincerest apology. I will do the needful within the context of the vandal
that you
tradition.
can't sing here.
Mr. Chairman, the honorable member has raised a very profound issue that has the potential of destroying the investments that we have made as a nation and as parents. Because we are speaking about the future of this nation. And I believe the minister, knowing him from our days in Commonwealth and here in Parliament, is not oblivious to this challenge as well. It is going to take a concerted effort. Parents, educators, and the institutions to address this issue. But we ought to also instill values in our children. It is not just sufficient to nurture them and to support them, but they must have values. And that is why I believe that as a nation, we must make values an important component of our education. I'm grateful.
Chairman, I don't have a follow-up on that, and we'll be watching the space for the interventions you'll be introducing. if there's one thing that we as policymakers or politicians must be ashamed of ourselves, and as a country, is to always read about schools under trees. Just about a week ago, the education minister stated that we still have about 5,000 schools under trees. And, Chief, to read such stories is disheartening, especially after 68 years of independence and the kind of resources that have gone with both NDC, MPP, whatever, PNDC. We don't have any excuse. So if there is one thing that you have to do with Honorable Idrisu within the next 4 years, to at least halve the number, Ghanaians will be very happy about that. Do you have an idea of the budget coming to Parliament in 2 weeks and the kind of arrangements being made towards the resolution of this? Thank you.
Most grateful, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I have no idea about the budget that is to come to Parliament, but I believe very strongly that I would be briefed in due course. But I must agree with the honorable member with regards to the spectacle of schools and the trees. It does not befit the status and age of our nation. But by and large, it's a product of our inability as a nation to keep pace with the provision of educational infrastructure. So as the population is growing, and of course, we continue producing offsprings, but we are not providing the educational infrastructure to match the growing population. So when communities begin to increase in population and they have children sufficient enough to start a school, they initiate by beginning their own schools. And invariably, most of those schools would be under trees. So it is a national issue, and I believe on this we should be united in finding the resources, even in these challenging times, to address it, because education is a right. I'm grateful.
Thank you. I'm told you just had instituted a fiscal planning unit at the ministry to be tracking some of these things. Let's deal with the issue of capacity building amongst teachers and other educational staff. I think it's an area that you also must look into, because education is evolving and you just cannot keep teachers stuck in their old ways. So how are you going to assist your minister in delivering on this very important area? Chairman, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Honorable nominee, please answer the question, if there is one.
I'm grateful. The teacher is perhaps the most important variable when it comes to education. All of us gathered here are who we are because of a teacher. And since we are living in a world that is evolving, and there are new ways of doing things, it is only proper that we give teachers the opportunity and support to be able to upgrade themselves and their skill sets to enable them give their best. So I am ready and prepared to support my minister as he executes the mandate given him by His Excellency the President. And I know that includes teacher welfare and professional development. I'm grateful.
Chairman, thank you, but I'm informed there is a National Education Leadership Institute that has been set up that you can rely on for that program, which is being funded by the Big Win Foundation. And I believe with Haruna MP, you have a good minister to work with. And I wish you the very best, Chief.
I'm grateful, and you are right. It's actually in my briefing notes. I believe you build on it for the betterment of Ghana.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nominee. I will now yield the floor to Honorable Jerry. Honorable Jerry, you are the one standing between us and lunch. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. V-mate.
Sharp.
So, Honorable Chair, so I have a very genuine observation. My observation is that we are this stretch, we are at this point vetting deputy ministers. The normal excuse or cliche has been that, oh, I'm going to support my minister. We are all aware you are going to support your minister. But we also know that you are men and women who have enormous capacity to go and deal with the issues. So my suggestion is that when people are asked questions, they should answer the questions. And when they are unable to, just because they don't really have an idea, they should also say so. And that is fair to the Ghanaian community. Instead of the normal excuse that I am going to support the minister. Yes, we know. So do we have to go ahead and vet because you are going to support the minister, or we shouldn't go ahead and vet? And that, I think we should all take a cue respectfully. I believe Dr. Clement Apaak has the capacity to respond to all the questions he's been asked to respond to. So if not, then when energy comes in, he's going to support his minister. So why are we going to ask him questions bordering on energy? If Agri comes, he's going to support his minister. So please, I know, I just want to have this intervention from Chairman.
Honorable Leader, that is what it says in the Constitution. The deputy minister is to go to the ministry to support his minister. If you ask a question and he wants to add more to it, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But that is the job description, is to go and support his minister. So I don't think the nominee will be wrong to say that I'm going to the ministry to support my minister, or whatever the policy direction is what he's going to follow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I do not think that we are at variance. All I'm saying is that all the nominees that come in, they have the capacity to respond to the issues they've been asked. And that is why, in the wisdom of His Excellency the President, he nominated them. So what we are doing here is to test your capacity, or to confirm, basically. Anyway, let me go to my first question. Dr. Clement Apaak, I suggest to you that PTA was never cancelled. What was cancelled was the levy.
Grateful, Mr. Chairman. As far as I know, the decision communicated was that we were no longer going to have PTAs. We're going to have PAs, parent associations. Parent associations. The teachers were not to be part. And the parents could decide to mobilize resources or if you like, play the functions that the PTAs that we knew before used to play. But the teachers were not to be part of it. So on that basis, if we say there were no PTAs and therefore we are introducing PTAs, we are right. We are saying parents and teachers can come together, dialogue, discuss, identify issues, and work at them. And it is on that basis that we have said that we are reintroducing PTAs, which is different from PAs. I'm grateful, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable nominee, examination malpractices are rampant in Ghana. They have largely marred the credibility of certificates or academic qualifications. Some people are called doctors when in fact they are not doctors. Some people have just found themselves at certain places because of examination malpractices. I know you are going to support your minister. I'm sure that will be the response. What are you bringing on board personally as someone with capacity? Or what are you going to suggest to your minister to do with reference to the issue at hand? Thank you very much.
I'm grateful, Mr. Chairman. Yes, I am not the minister. I'll be supporting the minister. But having worked on this issue somewhat, if you were to seek my opinion, one of the suggestions I would make would be for us to properly resource WAEC so that WAEC will be able to recruit and deploy its own invigilators. The other area that I may make a suggestion to the minister about with regards to this issue is for us to dialogue with WAEC to consider the serialization of the questions so that even in the same exam room, students would answer different questions on the same subject matter, which I think would thwart the effort of what we describe as exam room collusion. Because if all the questions are not the same, it will be difficult for those who collude to promote the malpractices to do so. I'm grateful, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable Chair, thank you for the opportunity. I think this is a matter of national importance, and therefore, I would like my honorable colleague to know what we have done that they can follow. For example, BEC has gone through serialization. Different examination centers have different questions. That is what led to the situation where more practice at the BEC level has simply disappeared. But we want them to go further to a point when you will serialize within the exam room. And WAEC exams, certain subjects were serialized the last time. So the ministers of West Africa met about serialization across the countries. So we're on track to going to the WAEC International to make sure that within the classroom, different students will have different arrangement, at least your question 1 is my question 20, so that the idea of cheating within the exams room can be eliminated. So there's a way for WAEC to do this, but they also say that they need new equipment to ensure, digitalized equipment to ensure they can
serialized. So I felt maybe this will help so that you build on it and take this examination more practices out of the way. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. You want to?
Yes. Thank you so much, Chairman. A really very good initiative. But would you take on board too the yawning gap between city schools?
Honorable Member.
Yes, ma'am.
You are not to ask any questions
No, it was a suggestion.
member around the table.
No, it's a suggestion.
Your questions should be directed.
Thank you so much.
To the nominee. So you are out of order.
Oh. Very well, Chairman. Chairman is an important one. Very important. Yes, can I go ahead?
Honorable Jerry, please continue.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. And that's a very good intervention. I pray we take it up. Yes, because the more practices are becoming way too many. I have, on a few occasions, met with my very hard-working teachers in Wage Agbawe. They've put across a few issues, one of which is their salary. Another is their teaching environment. And you'll be surprised that when I met them, none of them spoke about issues concerning themselves until I probed further. All the issues they raised were issues about their pupils. And I do not know if we have any award or reward system for maybe the best science teacher, the best maths teacher, and then the best female teacher. And issues of transportation. So I have a teacher who travels from Kwabenya to Wage Agbawe every day to come and teach. And they sometimes even come in and they are late. And they think that there are issues with reference to traffic and all. Honorable nominee, I know once again that you are going to support your minister. In this direction, how do you hope to support your minister?
Grateful. Yes, I am obligated to support my minister, and that I will do. But as somebody who is drawn from the academic environment, and as a rural person who represents a rural community, I can appreciate these issues. Matters to do with salary, obviously, have to do with releases on time and payments, and I know that will be dealt with. You are speaking about the quantum. Well, I cannot speak to that. I would make a case if given the opportunity, because I honestly believe that teachers are teachers are the most important in the scheme of affairs. All of us here in gathered are products of teachers. If I had my own pot of resources, I would pay teachers more than any other group of professionals, but I don't. That is my personal opinion. Teaching environment, yes, it needs to be improved. Transportation clearly would enhance the work of the teacher, teaching and learning. I mean, as rural MPs, I can relate to that. I have teachers who live in Sandema and have to come all the way to my village, Doninga, to teach on a daily basis. Sometimes they don't get a means of transport. And when they don't get a means of transport, that means that whole day, the children are going to go without tutoring. And I know that the NDC has a manifesto proposal to support teachers to be able to own their own means of transport. And I hope and pray that we would work with John Ramani Mahama as a nation to implement this policy. It will benefit all of us. I'm grateful.
You see, you have elaborate knowledge on all the things you're talking about. And so I'm very confident when I ask you a question. Although you are going in to support your minister. Doc, just flowing from this, can we consider teacher housing and then the emphasis on transportation? Because I am aware President Kufuor had such a policy for teachers and it was cancelled on the provision of transport to aid teachers for duty purposes or duty-bound purposes. Can we consider that? May you, or are you likely to consider advising your minister on this route?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I will do just that. I'm grateful.
Doc, the NDC's manifesto laid emphasis on, once voted for, they were going to embark on an emergency infrastructure drive. You remember that? And that what you intend to do is to complete abandoned E-blocks and expand infrastructure in existing SHS and TVET institutions. Please don't forget, my STEM school, which was started by the Honorable Minister here, is almost completed. How do you intend to finish that?
Grateful, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, as the Honorable Member indicated, the NDC presented a manifesto to the people of Ghana on the basis of which they gave your mama and the NDC the mandate. And I believe he will fulfill his promises. The almost complete STEM school in your constituency clearly will not be abandoned. I'm grateful.
Is that an assurance?
It will not be abandoned.
Honorable nominee, I also want to find out, in your view, so I'm indicating or placing emphasis, in your view, as Honorable Dr. Clement Apaak, how would technology be used to enhance service delivery in your ministry, the Ministry of Education, where you are going to assist your minister?
Grateful, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, technology is already playing a very important and significant role in almost every facet of our lives. And the Ministry of Education is no exception. I would support my minister, who himself is technology savvy, having served previously as a Minister for Communication, in whatever way he believes we can deploy technology to improve our services to the good people of Ghana through the ministry as expected. I'm grateful.
So, Doc, do you perchance have any idea of e-learning, and how do you intend to optimize or upgrade that e-learning?
Can you expatiate?
E-learning. So this is where, unless you want me to define what e-learning is to you.
Yes, I'll be most grateful.
Well, e-learning is using technology to provide education to the pupils or to the students. And that also even includes digitalization and the use of technology. So I am asking, with respect to you, how do you intend to optimize or upgrade e-learning in its current form?
I'm grateful, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, this is a policy decision. And since I'm only going to support my minister, it will be inappropriate for me to take the wind out of his sails. As I indicated earlier, the minister himself is very technology savvy. In fact, on this subject matter, I don't think that he will need my guidance at all. So let's give him the benefit of the doubt to lead. And if he needs my support, I'll be available. I'm grateful.
Doc, the teachers' allowance, is it teachers' training allowance, has been scrapped? Is that the case?
Mr. Chair, the teacher trainee allowance has not been scrapped. I'm grateful.
Honorable nominee, honorable members, please allow the nominee to answer the question. Thank you.
So, Doc, do you know or do we have your minister's assurance that it will not be scrapped?
Most grateful, Mr. Chairman. I have no reason to believe that it will be scrapped because the minister has not said it will be scrapped. I'm grateful.
Doc, football in secondary schools and, in fact, sports in general, one of the issues we've had currently with even our main sports is that the way we saw sports when we were growing up is not the same way it is currently patronized. Are you considering any new ways of generating interest in sports at the secondary level, at the basic school level? I mean, just last week, a group in Wager is one of the circuit groups. They had some sports program, but they did not even have any funding to do so. So I had to go in and support. But I want to find out, maybe.
Most grateful, Mr. Chairman. Sports is a very important activity, not just because it keeps us fit, but it's also a source of great entertainment. I have been a sports person, sportsman myself. I mean, I played volleyball. One of my playing colleagues is seated right by the chairman. I played football. I played table tennis. My younger brother, who is here, played basketball all the way to the national level. And you are right. It is not the way it used to be. And that should be a cause of worry. My minister is a sports enthusiast himself. He plays football himself. And I think the challenge we face, as you rightly alluded to, is funding and is inadequacy. Given that he's a sports person himself, I believe very strongly that he would find ingenious ways to get private sector involvement to support sports in our schools, even as we look at what we can do to provide some support as a nation for sport and sporting activities to go on in our school system. Sports cannot be neglected. A very important activity that ought to be supported. We all do it. We buy the footballs, the jerseys, and we provide the funding to support the district directorates of education to organize sporting activities. It's a problem that we must look at and address. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much. Dr. Apaak, I wish you very well. I know you are going to the Ministry of Education to fully support your minister. I wish you well in supporting your minister. V-mates.
Sharp. I will support my minister fully. I will support him the Busa way.
please. Thank you very much, Honorable Jerry. I will wrap it up, Honorable Nominee, and I want to draw our attention, the nominee and the nominees to come, those who we're going to see today, and those who are watching us, and honorable members of this committee. I want to draw your attention to Article 79(1) of the Constitution. And with your indulgence, I read, the President may, in consultation with a Minister of State and with the prior approval of Parliament, appoint one or more deputy ministers to assist the minister in the performance of his functions. Our job here as an appointment committee is to vet the nominee who comes before us, his background, experience, competence, and the skills that makes him a good fit for the role that he's been nominated, if this House approved of his nomination. So, to stay within time constraint, it is important, and there is time constraint, it is important that our questions address these areas and the answers from the nominee also respond to these areas. So, to go and support your minister is basically the job that you'll be doing. Of course, you have your own mind, you have your own views, which you may wish to express, but it is not upon you to be here and make policy decisions. That will be going against your minister, the substantive minister, had already been here, in fact, all substantive ministers, and any policy questions that they should address, they have adequately addressed them. So what we have heard here is what you are going to support. This is not just to you, but to all nominees and potential nominees who are to appear before us. Thank you. And then,
these are men and women of caliber. They can respond to the matters.
sorry.
He's a very nice man.
So be nice to me. So I will now proceed to read out the list that I have been given for the friends and family who came here to support you. And I'm reading the names I've been given, and I'm going to slow down so that I don't get certain names. Yes, mispronounced. So forgive me if my effort doesn't end up to be adequate. The first name I have here is Mrs. Matilda Latte Apaak, who is the wife of the nominee. I have the brother of the nominee, Professor Daniel Apaak, also with us. And then I have Nab, Atap, Nguyen, Adela, Akambianap, Akambom, Dominga Chief. I have again Nab, Patrick, Awa, Ajuti, Bachong Sa Chief. Bachong Sa Chief. I have again Nab, Akanta, Grewen, Akanku, the third, who's the Fumbisi Chief. Fumbisi Chief. Then I have here Caesar, Abianab, Akin Kang, constituency chairman of Bulsa South. Then I have Pastor Matthew Achang Weling. Then I have Honorable Roger Abolimbisa Akanta Grenon, who is a former colleague, a former MP for Bulsa South. And I have Ayarik, who is a Apangachang, who is the constituency vice chairman of Bulsa South. Then I have Pastor George Lati, who is a brother-in-law of the nominee. I want to say thank you to our guests for coming here to support our colleague who is the nominee this morning. On that note, Honorable nominee, congratulations. You are discharged. You will hear from the committee.
I'm most grateful, Mr. Chairman.
You can add the bye-bye if you so wish.
Well, welcome back to the Joy News channel, and we've been bringing you the live coverage of the Appointments Committee vetting deputy ministerials that the President hopes to work with a bit later when they are approved by Parliament. And this morning, we started off firstly with Clement Apaak. And
the man that was built in our minds.
Yes.
To actually head that ministry. Well, because of the role he played while in opposition, I expected that he would be the education minister, but as deputy, one concern that has been raised by Jerry Ahmed there, all of them seem to say, I will support my minister. But we're hoping that he will not just support his minister.
It will beg the question that, which is true, statutorily, they are really supporting the minister. But the big question is, why then are we vetting them? Because if the duty is to go and support, then it will be what the minister tells you to do that you're going to do.
The reason why Jerry was pushing for each time they come before the committee, if they at least have
I think it was a very relevant
about what is happening in that sector, they should come up and talk about it. And Apaak has just been mentioning some of the key things that he's hopeful that he and his boss would work on should they take office full-time. And that's actually one of the key things that came up during his vetting. He's promising that he will ensure he meets the responsibilities to WAEC during his tenure together with his minister. And this has always been a big issue, government indebtedness to WAEC.
Yeah.
The reason why the just ended WASI
examination, the results delayed,
coming up with the results, even up till date, some results are still withheld by WAEC. The reason some people had to go to court because of the delays in investigating that, and they all boil down to money. Government do not have enough money, and they're hoping that they will fix that.
The government will come at us because then they'll say that malpractices, why would it be their cost to want to be the ones investigating it and all of that?
Actually, another big concern. Although we're looking at the systems, that also came up, serialization of exam questions so that it can cut down exam malpractice. I feel personally it's a problem of moral integrity.
Okay.
When you lack moral integrity, it doesn't matter the measures you put in place. People will still find a way to cheat. I could read out the question and say, MFA, and number one, who is the president of...
Well, on that note, we'll go for a break. And when we come back, Steve, when we come back, hopefully we get to see the vetting of Richard Jan Mensah, who will be vetted for the position of Deputy Minister in charge for Energy and Green Transition. And a little later as well, hopefully what the whole country is waiting for will be John Kofi Seto Dumelo, Deputy Minister, who would be in charge for food and agriculture. We look forward to that one. But do stay with us here. We'll go for a quick breather. We'll be back shortly.